I'm here with Thomas of Seabright Hostas, and what we're going to be discussing today is how to divide hostas, but really you're going to be the one to tell us all this. So what are we looking at here? It looks like a kind of a porcupine thing.
Well, this is a hosta just coming out of the ground, and this is the stage at which you want to think about dividing your hostas if you're going to do a spring division before they start to unfurl their leaves.
Well, now let's go over here at this other one to show a better
Okay.
example of when you mean unfurl their
Okay.
leaves. This one has obviously grown a bit longer than the other one.
Yeah, when they're starting to get to this where the leaves have started to unfurl out of the pencil point stage, you want to think about maybe waiting another 2 or 3 weeks till the leaves are completely out and the foliage is hardened off a little bit. So otherwise your plant will go into a bit of a wilt when you're dividing it.
So by hardened off, you mean that they've actually completely opened up.
Yeah.
They're out there, they're a little bit more stable.
Right, where
And-
the growth is not so tender anymore and it's gotten a little bit used to the elements.
And then also, if you did do it at this time, it's not going to kill the hosta.
It's not going to kill it. You're just going to go through a little bit more shock with the plant, and it may wilt down a little bit on you. Whereas if you do it at the tighter stage, when they're still in the pencil point stage, like I call it, they're not going to wilt, and they're probably not going to show much sign of shock at all.
Well, so now we're not going to dig these up, but you actually have some
Yes,
you've already dug up.
I have one dug.
And the master hosta man is going to show us how to divide them. Let's run on over there,
Okay.
Thomas. So now, Thomas, this is an actual clump that you've dug up.
Yes,
It's awfully clean.
Yes, I've dug I dug this hosta clump and I've washed it off so you can actually see what you're doing. And I may point out that there's not a bad time to really, well, there's not. You can really divide hostas any time. They're really a very tough plant, but this is really one of the best times to do it.
And really, that's because that way you're not going to set it back at all.
Right,
Okay.
right. So what I've done is I've dug it up and I've washed it off. And then what I like to do is I like to turn it over and I like to get a hold of the roots. And the plant is really tough, don't be afraid. And I try to pull first to see if I can find a spot where it's going to...
Oh, my.
That way you're not disturbing any of the plants. It makes a clean break. And then once I get it pulled into a few pieces... Now, not all your hostas are going to come apart quite this easy. But each one of these little crowns is a potential plant. So you probably want to do, depending on how big of a plant you want to put back, probably 3 to 5 eyes, you know, depending again on how many you want.
And can we assume that when you say 3 to 5 eyes, you're talking about these actual things growing?
Yes.
Okay.
So like this little variety, like this, I would do like half a dozen. Like it's going to depend on how many you want. But see, this one here is easy enough that I can break it apart. But on some of your bigger ones, I'll take a knife, and I like to work from the bottom. Be careful, get a real sharp knife, and I stick it in the bottom so I'm not actually cutting any of the crowns in half. And make a little bit of a cut and then pull it the rest of the way. So once again, it kind of breaks where it's the weak point. Just stick it in right like that.
So it's really simple.
It's really very easy.
Yeah.
That you can break. You can.
And out of that one plant, you can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll get probably 8,
Yeah. Yes.
8 or 10
So
plants out of
You
that.
got lots. You can see even this one will grow.
Wow.
A little plant like that.
And then anything special with replanting them? Is there like, do you do anything special with the soil or?
I just like to make the hole fairly. Put in some compost, make it nice and loose and fluffy soil, and anything you can do to make it more nutrient.
Well, Thomas, I know that you had some wind damage this year, and then you cut a tree down.
Yes,
So
yes.
I think we're going to be excited to come back and see what happens with these hostas that have been in shade, because you have some beautiful, huge stands of hostas. So we're looking forward to coming back with that and seeing what summertime does to them. So this is a great example, Thomas, of how you have one clump in your yard. You can make, 8, 10, a dozen plants out of one clump.
Yes, lots of plants to share with your friends or to scatter around your own yard.
Well, that's wonderful. And if you have any other questions about how to divide a hosta, Thomas will be more than happy to take your questions. You can go to seabrightgardens.com. You can also go to gardentime.tv, and we'll kick you over to their website. Always a pleasure, Thomas. Looking forward to a great year with you.
Thank you.